Hey guys, today we have a veteran of World War II on the show, the PPSh-41, the Spagan submachine gun, which made it to Berlin and has made it to this day to show the world its power on our channel. And today, the Kommandante will test all its performance characteristics, including how the 7.62 by 25 bullet behaves in water. We will see if it actually penetrates walls and whether it can destroy the American armor legend SAPI, which came to us from Afghanistan. The first penetration test of the PPSh will be on a Soviet SSh-40 helmet from 1940, a steel helmet. By the way, this isn't a disc magazine, it's a drum magazine. We insert it and load it. Is that it? Exactly what I was talking about! She has dug in her heels. Two hits directly on the helmet. Well, do we have to talk about who survived here? Of course, nobody would have survived here. By the way, the PPSh is a very dangerous thing because a light drop and it can fire. I just experienced this on myself. It went off like a cartridge. I started to catch up further and it gave me a good whack in the hand. So I'll be more careful. By the way, in the episode with watermelons, it was almost the same thing. So you need to be extremely careful with it. The history of the PPSh is an evolution of the high rate of fire infantry weapon of that time. The demand for submachine guns began to form back in the 1920s. And in 1934, the PPD, the Decade of Submachine Gun of 1934, was adopted by the Red Army. More hope was placed on this unit, by the way, but as Comrade Stalin said, the best is the enemy of the good. The PPD weighed almost 7 kilograms, had its own problems with reliability, but the main drawback was fatal. It was prohibitively expensive. Due to the huge number of parts, 900 rubles. So by 1940, the People's Commissariat gave the designers the task of making a submachine gun that would outperform the PPD in terms of performance with the minimum possible number of parts. Two models were submitted to the competition, Spagens and Spitalnis. Apparently the letter Sh in the surname somehow endows them with design qualities. Both samples were good, but Spagens' version was much more technologically advanced, with 87 parts, 8 less than Spitalnis. The PPSh required 5 times fewer machine hours, somewhere around 5 and 6. The PPSh range trials were extremely harsh. 30,000 rounds not only were withstood by the sample, but it even showed decent accuracy with intact parts, and 5,000 rounds were fired without cleaning. I think you don't need to be told about the progress in the water, but let's not forget that any barrel is reliable when it's well maintained. The genius of the design was that almost every factory in the Union could manufacture it. Even Belarusian partisans in the forest made it without blueprints. The shift at the factory was 12 hours, and you couldn't leave until you made 5 machine guns. And those who worked were, of course, women and children. So 100-300 factories worked for the front. Can you imagine the volume of production? This did have consequences, however, but more on that later. I'll be shooting from 20 meters with the PPSh, and I want to see how much the 7.62 by 25 bullet changes its trajectory if it hits water bottles. There are 12 here, and we'll try to capture the bullet's flight, considering that I'll be firing in bursts. The bottles were shredded quite good. They're all riddled. And this one too. The last ones were less damaged. Only the top part was hit on the left and right. But down below, there's nothing below. Well, it was hard to shoot here because I was in a low spot. Look, I managed to catch one bullet in a bottle. 4 bottles were pierced, and the bullet further changed its trajectory, went down and got stuck in the bottle. These were all non-practical tests, but the next one will be practical. The 7.62 by 54 rifle cartridge is held by this metal ceramic plate. This is SAPI. We'll put it here, lower the single shot into the PPSh and try to penetrate it with the 7.62 by 25 because the bullet speed is more than 500 meters per second. It's clear that the 2013 SAPI holds up under the impact. The dent is good, by the way. The entry hole, and you see the ceramics coming out, because on the inside there's like this ceramic thing. Oh, look, damn, you can see it clearly. There's the bullet. You could easily break a knife here overall. Yeah, look, the bullet went in, and it's stuck in there really well. I put on the American SAPI, even highlighted it a bit in profile to see what would happen to it on a slow motion camera. Yeah, I'll fire a few shots from the PPSh now, and... The 7.62 by 25 goes very deep. Well, how deep? Deep in my opinion. Let's pull out one bullet, see how it deformed. This is what happened to it. It looks like it's been slanted, you see? It's turned out like that. Well, it's been flattened like that, probably. Apparently so. That's one. See, there's metal braiding that remained inside, you can see it. It's actually stuck to the second one, by the way. Here's another one. One grazed it and flipped the plate over, and I hit the top part again from behind. Well, the PPSh didn't let me down. I let off a longer burst, and it looks like the legendary SAPI has met its end. Ceramic elements flew backwards along with pieces of wood from the box. Yeah, look at the awesome grouping, all in one sector. We separate the casing, and here's the result. This is the first hit we made with the PPSh. Here they are, see? The first ones, like bam bam, and then when it started firing bursts, we saw this. The bullets that stayed inside along with the casing look like this. Look how beautifully they embedded themselves into this SAPI. Here it is, flattened. The front layer is pierced, as you can see, and most of the bullets, by the way, starting from the third one, pierced it. Although, no, look, a part of the bullet stayed here. This is lethal, this is lethal, this is lethal, and this is also lethal. We open the plates in the middle and see this beauty. Everything is mixed up here, see? bullets. This is a steel bullet. Its shell. It should be beautiful. But we'll try to see how a bullet from the 7.62x25 PPSh flies out and goes through this ballistic gel. The first 7.62x25 bullet hit the upper part of the ballistic gel and exited upwards. Well, I'm going to shoot lower now. Let's try again how the bullet behaves. I'm shooting from a fairly close distance, about 7 meters, not more. And it's clear that the bullet's lethality changes when you move further back. So we'll try to move back a bit. Under the influence of this ballistic gel, the bullet exits upwards, like it's a pattern. Well, we will shoot standing because we want to see the trajectory inside the ballistic gel. Three bullets go through the ballistic gel, and what if I move back to 50 meters? How much will the bullet's lethality change? I hit with the first, and that's really cool because 50 meters seems like it's not the closest distance. The gel can't stop the 7.62x25 bullets from the PPSh. It has a small recoil, by the way, because of the muzzle brake, but I'm going to lean on it anyway so that the hits are more accurate. Let's see what happens to our ballistic gel right now. They say the PPSh goes through 3 people, but what if one person is in body armor and the other isn't? I'm planning to cut the ballistic gel in half and place a ceramic plate, never 4, in the middle, and see what happens. Let's see how the bullets flew. What came back, what didn't. I actually found one bullet near me by some miraculous means. Well, and that's not very good, honestly. It means it has a pretty good ricocheting capability, since it managed to reach me. So, one bullet came back in the opposite direction. Here it is, see? It stayed here. It feels like a lot of bullets came back, because they flew past me. So, let's see what happened next. Ceramic plate fragments. The second person seems to be fine, but the first one is a sieve. See? Here's another one. Here it is. It hit the Never 4 plate. By the way, let's see what happened to the bullets that hit the Never 4. They're completely intact, like they went through a water hammer. Here's one, look at it. It's as if a ballistic gel just unfolded it. It hit flat. See, it's completely intact. Oops. It's not so intact after all. It's flattened. Brass casing and a steel bullet. This is how it opens up after ballistic gel inside the ceramic plate. By the way, the top hit was the most serious, and the bullet bounced back. Well, from the backside, everything is fine. By the way, can someone explain to me what NEVA 4 is? Because I couldn't find it on Google or Yandex, even though it says everything can be found there. Whoever writes in the comments, let me know what kind of manufacturer it is and where you could buy such a plate. I noticed that the top hits were outside the gel, and it handled it even better than SAPI. What a turn of events. Below, it's clear that they've unfolded a little, but here are direct hits, see? The bullet is sticking out. Right at the top, and it holds just ideally. Yeah, it's not the easiest damn thing to measure 250 meters, but I marked 250 meters to see if the PPSh, the Shpagin submachine gun, can actually fire at that distance, and if I can hit that door that Vadim will show. By the way, just so there's no misunderstanding about my meter-long steps, look, here's a meter, here. Really? Really? 1, 2... 250 meters, some fascists are hiding there, and we're gonna blast them. Let's go. Look, the door is practically intact because the spread is a meter to the right. Because on the left side, I practically didn't see any hits. I only see them here at the top. There's one. There's a hit. Here it is. Here's where the hit is. The hit is on the right side. Let's see. Right here. Here it grazed the branch. This, by the way, was a single pass through the door. I can see. Here's where it scratched the wood. See? That means I did hit the door after all. It's just getting dark and I have trouble determining the nature of the hits. Here. And even further to the right, that is, the spread is about a meter, probably, although I was aiming at the door itself. One hit here in the center, below the middle. Here's where the good hits were, I think 1 or 2, and at the very bottom. So in fact, I fired about 25 rounds. Of these, 4 or 5 hits were definitely on the door, and the rest scattered in different directions. The PPSh is essentially a ZU-23-2 on a minimal scale, because it spits out 1200 rounds per minute. What kind of trouble can it cause with a brick wall? Because I watched a couple of videos, it shoots through brick by brick, and we have a 2-brick wall here. What can it do if you fire it in bursts? Does it penetrate a 2-brick wall? No, it does not. Big dents. Yeah, if the structure has cracked, you could try to knock it down. But the 7.62 by 25 isn't as powerful a cartridge as, say, the Kalashnikov, which would definitely be able to demolish it if you emptied a couple of magazines. It's obviously a formidable weapon, powerful, and in Call of Duty its advantages are not exaggerated. I especially like the customized version. So, play Call of Duty, use good quality weapons, And remember, as Stalin said, the best is the enemy of the good, because it wasn't the best, but it was really good in some respects. The downside is that it jams. The downside is that if you drop it, it can easily fire. And as you saw, I almost got my hand blown off today. But in the end, it's a veteran whose place is probably on a shelf or in heavy caliber ruckus. Don't switch, it will get more interesting.